Okay, we just took a long on the 987 tick chart, not Heikin-Ashi, but 987 tick, and I have a $1,000 goal, 200 tick profit target. And I did chase this trade a little bit. I should have got filled here, but just turned the Autotrader on just now. So let's see if this will be a sharp rally into the close. Notice we are having higher lows on these bars. Each time it pulls back, it's getting bought. So hopefully we'll get a spike to 56.50. It's not that far away in this volatility. Here we go. Yes. Hit our profit target on the nose. These 3 bars, each one of these, they tried to sell it down, but it kept going up, and I suspected it would go much higher. So, reason for taking this trade was we had an ABC pattern, or 1, 2, 3 pattern here. We had a low, a high, a higher low. We had blue bars. The averages turned up. There was not a very shallow pullback, and by the time I recognized all this, I went long here, and that turned out to be pretty good. Pretty good trade for the last 30 minutes. Okay, just wanted to come back and do a recap of today's trade. Here it is, right here, late in the day. And as stated, I did not get a chance to trade here, but basically I was looking at this kind of break of this kind of triangle pattern. Actually, if I were to draw a trend line here, it'd look like this. So we had an ascending triangle here and a break of this trend line, and this is where I jumped in. Let's take a look at how the FibGrid worked out for support and resistance. On the bottom is the range grid, and that tells us at what point in the day we hit various levels of our range. So the gold is where it is 100% of the range. So down here, this red dotted line, that's 25% of the range. And then here is 50%, and then the dotted blue line is 75%. And then this dotted blue line here is 100% of the range, and that was achieved at 11 o'clock this morning. So this is the regular session only. So here's what it looked like today. The market gapped up. Here's the open, and we first went to 50% of the range, actually more like 76, which I have plotted here, and then that fluctuated between the 25, I'm just going to call it 25, 50, 75, and 75, and then it dipped down below here probably to the 138 here, back up to the 50, back down to the 100, and then rallied. And note that the rally stopped right at 100% of the range. So it's been the case here. Notice the day before the rally stopped here at 100% of the range and then sold off, and it stopped at 100% of the range on the downside. So in nearly every case here, the FibGrid zones, so to speak, are work very well as support and resistance, and it's clear to see here. It's a really remarkable indicator. So if you're interested in the FibGrid, you have to own the BWT Autotrader or the indicators to purchase the FibGrid. So the FibGrid is a separate product, and it's $750 for a license, and then $195 renewal, and then it's, if you have 2 computers, it's $100 for an additional license, I believe. Okay, what we were looking at before was the daily FibGrid. This is the weekly FibGrid on a 24-hour chart. So here's the weekly open here in the shaded area, and that provided support here. Okay. And you can see where the market first sold down to 100% of the weekly range, where it stalled here. It actually stalled at this bar at the 50%, then went to the 100%, and then down to the 200%, where it stopped pretty much on the numbers. Kind of a stall here at the 150, and then back up to the 100. And then, of course, you can see where it respected the 100, the 150, the 200, back up to the 50% level, up to the 25, and so forth. So the weekly FibGrid showing us support and resistance. No matter how you look at it, it tracks pretty well. But yeah, the FibGrid just does a great job of showing us support and resistance. Okay, just wanted to show a few charts from today that were fully automated. This one had a $1,500 goal and 987 tick, and it was not using the open range filter. And we had a goal of 1,000, but I raised it to 1,500 here. And this hit its goal with one tick of slippage. And I let it trade both directions. This started trading at like 9:30. And actually earlier than that, I take that back. I set this to start trading at 4:30 a.m. And so it had a winner and a loser here, and then ultimately hit its goal here. And these look like small trades, but these are basically where it got stopped out here at, looks like profit percent, 150 perhaps, with 15% trailing. This was a beautiful open range filter trade. It started out with a loser. That loser was a drawdown of 750, so showing you how volatile the markets are. So just here to here was 750. Here to here in the other direction was probably $800 or $900. But then it took a perfectly positioned short based on the open range filter, and you can see that here, filled on a limit order, and then stopped out, and then here hit its goal with only one tick of slippage. So on this one, I set the stop loss as I set the limit at 400 ticks, which is $2,000, and then trailing by a bar at 380 ticks. So this was just shy of that. Must have hit 380 ticks, and then trailed by a bar here. And then the second trade hit its goal, obviously. But just a beautiful open range filter on the setup here. Didn't take the long here, even though this was a tradable move. And then caught the second short with just excellent entry here, and hit its goal of $2,000 on a single contract.